Hi everyone, this is James Braithwaite of Braithwaite Physiotherapy, helping you to move beautifully. And today we are going to talk about how to continue to exercise when you are experiencing, I think the alarm just went off, when you're experiencing shoulder impingement pain. And especially we're going to talk about how to execute a push-up when you are experiencing that type of problem. Shoulder impingement, one of the most common problems I see in the clinic. And this is an issue where the soft tissue is sitting under the acromion, and the acromion is this little bony piece, this little bony roof of your shoulder that sits just above the ball of that ball and socket joint. Soft tissues can become impinged underneath the acromion. Super common type of shoulder problem. I see it all the time. Lots of factors are relevant when it comes to what's causing your impingement problem. Each case is a little bit unique. Sometimes it's people's natural anatomy makes them a little bit more predisposed to a shoulder impingement problem. Sometimes it's a postural issue, right? People are sitting in these really crummy, impingy type positions, sitting at a computer, or they just have crummy postures in general. That can be a factor. Sometimes you've got just a long-term sort of chronic soft tissue problem where the tissues start to thicken up. They're a little bit chronically swollen. They've got a pathology, a tendinopathy, that type of thing. They tend to be thicker and more likely to impinge. Doesn't matter. Whatever your situation, you can still exercise while you've got this problem. Of course, first of all, everyone can still do all their lower extremity strength training in the gym when they've got this type of a shoulder problem. So keep doing your squats, keep doing your deadlifts, right? You can still do all of that type of activity. You can still do your lunges, that type of thing. But that's not what this video is about. This video is not about those types of exercises. This video is about how do you still do chest presses, because chest presses are typically one of those aggravating activities along with overhead type press movements that people cannot do while they're experiencing this type of injury in the gym. So we're going to show you how to do a push-up, which of course is just a variation on the chest press theme. So with this type of problem, what you're trying to do is maintain your shoulder blade in a nice neutral position, which means externally rotated and posteriorly tipped. So if come on over here, let's take a look at this. If I were to take my shoulder blade off of my body, if I take that off of my body and look at it, a posterior tip looks like I'm poking that bottom tip of my shoulder blade into my body. So it's this. And external rotation means I'm tucking that inside border into my body. So we're looking for a posterior tip and an external rotation. That's the position that we're trying to maintain as we execute our exercises. That's the positioning that will minimize the impingement of those soft tissues under the acromion. Now, how do we do that? Well, we've talked about that on this blog before. There's this 3-point upper extremity posture protocol that I really like. Number 1 of that 3-point system. You're taking the bottom tip of your shoulder blade and tucking it into your body. It's this little rotation. You see what I'm doing there? It's not down and back. It's not down and back. It's tipping. That's sort of like flaring your chest. Another way to think of it is you're doing a little dance move, right? Remember this one? That was popular, I'm pretty sure, at one time. A little grandpa-ish now. I don't know what's the most popular dance move. I'm definitely going to edit that part out. Anyway, so you're trying to tip the bottom corner of your shoulder blade into your body. You'll notice that your ribs flare out a little bit as you do that. So you can tuck those ribs back in to maintain a nice neutral trunk, and you do that by contracting your abs. That's the second part of the 3-part posture. So number 1, tuck in your bottom tip of your shoulder blade. Number 2, contract your abs to tuck in your ribs. And you can do that. Notice how I did that sharp little out breath there? That's how you execute that contraction of your ribs, contraction of your abs to keep your ribs tucked in. So, third piece is tucking in your chin. I've tucked in my shoulder blade, I've tucked in my ribs, and then I'm just going to shine it all on by keeping my chin tucked in. And that will help me to place my shoulder blade and my thorax in general in a good position for executing this push-up. So, I'm going to get down onto the ground. Probably should be wearing sneakers for this, but necessity requires that I do it in these shoes. Okay, so I'm making sure that I've got my shoulder blade tip tucked in, I've got my ribs tucked in, and I've got my chin tucked in, and from here I can execute my push-up. Now, I should be able to find that the pain at my shoulder from that impingement is minimized. It should not be there as I execute. If I can't execute with a pain-free movement, then this is something that you'd have to discuss with your physiotherapist, because for some really angry shoulders, we actually will stay away from this exercise. But for many impinged shoulders, this is a movement that you can execute. Two more things. Depth is something that you may keep a little bit shallower. Make sure there's at least a fist width of space between your chest and the ground. So I won't go all the way down chest to ground. I'll keep at least a fist width of space between my chest and the ground at the bottom of the movement. And the third thing that I'm doing is I'm making sure that my arms are not abducted, so they're not raised more than 60 degrees away from my trunk. So this is 90 degrees, the T position. This is 0 degrees next to my trunk. This is 60 degrees. I want to be 60 degrees and lower as I execute. So I'm not here, I'm here, like this. And that's how I execute my push-up. This is a great exercise for rehabilitating shoulders. It helps you to practice good shoulder mechanics. It helps you to practice the motor control of keeping that shoulder blade stabilized and flush against your trunk, and it helps to practice activating the stabilizing musculature of your rotator cuff as well, which is also wonderful, along with the serratus anterior, this muscle right here. That set of musculature is important for stabilizing your shoulder blade and helping you to stay away from impingement type positions at the underneath the acromion. So test those things. Keep your 3-point upper extremity posture on. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Keep your arms at 60 degrees and lower, and keep some space between your chest and the ground when you do your push-up. You should be able to execute that push-up even with a shoulder impingement injury. Test it out, see how it works for you, have fun with it. And until next time, I'm James Braithwaite of Braithwaite Physiotherapy, helping you to move beautifully.